Ladies and gentlemen, you might be wondering why the hell I'm off on the side of the screen. I'll give you the answer in a second, but first, I have at the moment an 18-week coaching deal. So if you sign up for coaching and you pay in full within the next 2 weeks, this is only for the next 2 weeks, you will get 18 weeks instead of the usual 12. So I'll leave a link in the description below to that. Now, why am I off on the side? Because we're going to have a little bit of fun with this. So I've done this series in the past where I basically ask ChatGPT, which is an AI. That's all you really need to know. It's a robot. It's not Skynet, I promise, although it might be in the future. Who fucking knows? But it's an AI that answers questions. And so I've been asking it some questions about some of my content and getting the answers from it. And then we kind of sit down and we react to that. And I give my take because some of the answers that the AI gives are pretty fucking amazing. But a lot of it maybe needs a little bit more nuance or some sort of caveats there. So this was the prompt that I used for the topic today, which was, hey, Chat GPT, I'm doing a YouTube video that will be fun and entertaining. The title is this: How to Be More Honest in Dating According to an AI. You are obviously the AI that I'm referring to. So give me your best advice and I'm going to do a video on it, basically rating how good I think your advice is, adding my own advice, etc. And Chat GPT said, hello. It sounds like an exciting concept for a video. I'm glad to be a part of it. Love that enthusiasm. Let's dive into some advice about how to be more honest when dating. And so it spat out a whole bunch of advice. And the first one it spat out, I really like, which is be clear about your intentions from the start. We talk a lot on this channel about being upfront and saying what you want as early as you're possibly able to. And I understand that at the start, you might be a bit uncomfortable saying what you want upfront. Might be a little bit intimidating for you. It was definitely intimidating for me. There's an article on my website called Honesty is an Ideal You Work Towards. And in this article, I talk about, look, it's okay if you're not that practiced with being honest and upfront. You can just improve with it as you date more people and as you go along. Progress, not perfection. So be clear about your intentions from the start. Being honest in dating starts with being clear about your intentions. If you're just looking for a casual relationship, be upfront about that. If you're looking for something more serious, communicate that as well. By being honest about your intentions, you show respect for the other person's time and feelings, and your own time and feelings as well. So that's probably the biggest reason why I started being a lot more upfront and honest. It wasn't because I'm a wonderfully kind human being and I wanted to look out for other people. That kind of came later. And I cared about other people, but I did it for very selfish reasons at the start. It was because I was wasting a lot of my own time going on multiple dates with people that weren't looking for something casual or weren't looking for just sex. And not that I was looking for only sex, but sex was definitely my number one priority for a long time. And I was going on multiple dates with people. And then when we would finally get to the point where I would make a move or I would say like, look, I'm just wanting something sexual, they'd be like, oh, okay, well, like, fine, I kind of was looking for, eventually a relationship. It doesn't have to be one right now, but I wanted to build towards that. And I was like, fuck, I don't want a relationship. I'm wanting to see multiple people. And so for my own time, and eventually, like I said, it was to save other people's time and feelings as well. But I started doing it for my own time because I was wasting lots of time going on dates. And I also didn't like the feeling of going on dates with someone like 5 dates in a row or 3 dates in a row. And then finally you get to the point where you're like, hey, by the way, I want something sexual. And they're like, oh, no, I don't want that. I felt kind of like, my conscience kicked in. And I did start to feel like, man, I'm wasting these people's time. That isn't fair. And I'm wasting my own time. So yeah, I love this one. Be clear about your intentions from the start. Like I said, that's something that you practice. You don't have to be perfect with being upfront at the start. Try your best. And I think most of you can do a way better job than I did at the start. It took me quite a while to learn to be honest because I very much felt like I was exploring this myself. Most of the people that I looked up to, they were honest, but I don't think they embraced not brutal, but like complete and utter authenticity and honesty the way that this community does. Some people that I followed that did was probably just Mark Manson is the only one that really comes to mind. Mark Manson was the one in my mind who was like, okay, he's authentic. He's just honest from the start. And I tried to mirror that, but I did very much feel like I only really had him and like nobody else. I didn't feel like there was a big community of people doing it. Whereas for a lot of you now, you have me, you have all of my coaching clients, you have all the testimonials from all of my clients where I've shown you, look what happens when they're honest. You have everyone in the YouTube comments, you have, this whole community really embracing honesty. And so if we can all do it, maybe you can do it a little quicker than I did it. But if you don't want to be honest, that's perfectly okay. You know, we're a big libertarian channel here. I'm not telling you that you have to be honest, but honesty really has been a nice cheat code for me. This next one I like, but I'm going to add so many caveats to this one. So ChatGPT says, stay true to yourself. In other words, I guess you could phrase that as be honest with yourself with what you want. Like actually know what you want and then be honest about that with yourself. It can be tempting to try and mold yourself into the person you think your date wants to be. Oh my God. Do you know how many of my male coaching clients come to me and they go, I have all these pressures and these stories and these ideas in my head of what kind of man I have to be, or, you know, it's often phrased like this. Guys will say, what should I say to this woman? What is the right thing to say to this woman? It's like, bro, are you just trying to be a chameleon here? Are you trying to just say what you think she wants you to say? You're not a dancing monkey. You know, you don't have to like jump through somebody else's hoops. And half the time, the other person doesn't want you to jump through hoops. They just want you to be yourself. And you're the one sort of sitting there going, what's the perfect thing to say? Now, obviously balance that with, yes, there is a self-improvement aspect to this. You know, and so I think sometimes people, when they hear or when people say, stay true to yourself, like just be yourself, often what they mean, or people can take this as, so you're saying I shouldn't improve. I should just be exactly who I am right now. Well, great. I haven't had a date in 5 years. So being myself obviously isn't working. So to that person, I would say, well, yeah, you can improve yourself, you know, be a better version of yourself. This is more about I have found it personally useful to not be just a dancing monkey or a chameleon who changes himself and changes his personality and changes every word out of his mouth based on who is in front of him. And so as best you can is how I would phrase it. Try and figure out who you are, and there can be an experimentation to that. You don't have to know who you are or what you want, or, you know, it can be difficult to be honest with yourself at the start because you don't know who you are. You don't know what you enjoy. You have to kind of figure that out. But as you figure that out, as you go through this process of figuring out who you are and what you want and what you're looking for in dating and sex and relationships and love and all of that kind of stuff, as best you can, embrace the mindset that we talk about a lot, which is a sort of screening mindset. So you figure out what you want, and that might take some practice. You might have to go on some dates and meet some people and have some sex or not have sex, but whatever you do, there can be a process to that. But as you start to figure out what you want, then you go hunting for that, or you screen for that. And if somebody comes along and they really don't match up with what you're looking for, like for instance, me, something that is deeply important to me, obviously from this podcast, I'm sure you could tell, is honesty. And if I meet a woman, or if I just meet a human being, you know, for friendship or whatever else, if I meet someone that just isn't honest or doesn't embrace honesty, like I screen that person out. Nothing against them. I have nothing but love for that person. It's not that they're bad or like, how can you not be honest? No, it's just I'm looking for people who are honest. And if you're not currently matching up with that, like, hey, that's beautiful, that's amazing, but like, no, thank you. And so I will screen that person out of my life, and I will screen in or filter in the people who can be honest. And so figure out the things that you're looking for. You know, it could be something like maybe you're looking for just casual sex right now. You just want to get that dick wet, right? Or you're a woman, you just want to explore yourself. And you're in that mindset or in that phase or whatever you want to call it, where you're just like, I just want to fucking have some goddamn sex. Great, brilliant. Then screen for that. And if you meet someone who says, hey, look, I'm only looking for a relationship, and we don't have to start off as a relationship, but like I do want that, and I would never see someone for just only casual sex, like it has to eventually turn into a relationship, then hey, filter that person out. This isn't what I'm looking for. And so again, that process might take you a little bit of like time, and might take a little bit of practice to figure out what you actually want. You don't have to know. I just had a coaching client sign up like yesterday, and she and I had this conversation where she sort of said, look, I know what I don't want, which is marriage. I definitely don't want marriage, but I don't know what I do want. And so I sort of said, well, maybe you just try some different things and see what you like. Like if you really have no clue what the hell you might like or what to even screen for, hey, just try a few different things and you'll quickly figure out, oh, I don't like that. That doesn't feel good. Oh, I do like this. This does feel good. And you'll kind of figure this stuff out. So to continue reading what ChatGPT said, it can be tempting to try and mold yourself into the person you think your date wants to be, but this isn't being true to yourself. Well, I just moved the screen down, didn't I? There we go. But this isn't being true to yourself, and it can lead to disappointment down the road when the real you emerges. Be honest about your likes, dislikes, values, and goals. Yes, this is one of the biggest reasons why I fully embraced honesty. And again, it's not that you have to be perfect with honesty, but why I try and be more and more honest every single day is because I just found I was having to have this like mask on. And those of you who've been on this channel since 2020, you know I don't like masks. That was a joke for the OGs who were here during 2020. But I don't like the idea of a mask as in faking who you are or trying to put up appearances or trying to like pretend to be someone that maybe you're not really, and let's say you meet someone who, and God, how many women listening right now can relate to this? Let's say you're a woman who doesn't want casual sex, right? Like you will have some sex, you'll have sex, but you're wanting to get into a relationship. And so you'll have sex with someone that you met, sure, but like you're wanting it to turn into a relationship. A relationship is what you want. But how many of you have like put up with someone that only wants casual sex, and it's pretty fucking clear that they only want casual sex. They just want a booty call or a hookup, and hey, that's beautiful. That's what they want. But you put up with it because you're kind of hoping like, oh man, like maybe, eventually they'll change their tune. And so you're putting on this mask. You're almost pretending that you're okay with casual sex. It's sort of like, how many of you can relate where you say what you think your partner wants to hear because you don't want to cause a fuss, you don't want to cause like a disagreement, or you say what you think your boss wants to hear. You say what you think your friends want to hear. You say what you think the general public wants to hear. And so you're putting on this mask, and as this, as ChatGPT points out, that can often lead to extreme disappointment when the other person finds out, or you just let the mask drop and you're like, I can't be bothered doing this anymore. I myself went through this period that I call like the red pill phase. And for those of you not familiar, there is an online community called the Red Pill community. And a big part of the red pill philosophy, there's a lot of different philosophies as part of that. One big part of it is self-improvement. And I really liked that part. I really gelled with that part. But another part of the red pill philosophy is, or a big chunk of the audience or a big chunk of that community believe that you got to be like an alpha male, right? You got to be fucking like essentially perfect. You got to be a strong, stoic fucking male. And I'm a big fan of stoicism. I am a big fan of strength and masculinity and all of that. But I think a lot of the people in that community take it to the extreme, where they believe you have to be like that permanently. And if you ever have a day where you're just slightly chilled or relaxed, then that's beta, and that is automatically bad, and you're a pussy or you're a simp, and women will lose attraction to you and all that kind of stuff, right? And it can often be taken to the extreme, not by everyone in the red pill, but enough people in the red pill take it to that extreme. And I was deep in that community for about 2 years, and it helped me a lot. I grew a lot as a human being. I went deep into self-improvement and going to the gym. The red pill did a lot for me. It really did. But I did get caught up in that extreme view of, if I'm not a perfect alpha male, James Bond, character who always has the right thing on the tip of his tongue, and he's always stoic and never gets emotional, never has emotions, never, ever, ever is imperfect. He just always knows what to say. I got so caught up in that I would progress in a relationship, even just a casual one, because I was only seeing women casually at that point. I would progress in a casual relationship. Maybe we'd seen each other for 6 months. And I would inevitably have a point where I would just go, I'm sick of trying to fake that I'm perfect all the damn time. I'm sick of this fucking mask that I've put on. And I would take that mask off and just be like, here's the real me. And to be fair, most of the women actually liked that, because they were like, holy shit, you're not a two-dimensional caricature. You're an actual human being. But there were a few that it was sort of like a weird uneasiness. And not that they outright like rejected me or something, but there was definitely a weirdness there, because they were like, whoa, why are you getting real with me all of a sudden? Like, this is just such a like stark 180 or 90 degree turn. You've been this like aloof, almost weird, like cold, perfect stoic man all the time, and now suddenly you're getting real with me. It's almost like, whoa, like this is everything okay? Like, are you having a fucking breakdown here? And so it's not so much that it was like bad or something, but it definitely was a complete 90 degree weird moment for them, and I guess for me too. And that's kind of what happens if you keep up this facade of, I'm going to just mold myself into the person that I think the opposite sex wants, or whoever I'm dating wants. There is inevitably a point that you get with that person or with someone else, or, eventually with, whoever, you get to a point where like, I can't be bothered pretending to be this, like pretending to be the person that you want to be. And I'm sure lots of women can relate to this. How many of you women, like guys do it too, obviously, but how many women are out there listening? You've molded yourself, or you're trying, and often it comes from a place at the start where you're just trying to get along with everybody, right? You're just trying to be pleasant. You're trying to be agreeable. You're trying not to cause any waves. You don't want to be the annoying woman who's like, whatever story you have in your head, you're just trying to go with the flow and like make other people happy. But inevitably you get to a point, and how many like 30-something-year-old women get to this point where they're like, I've lived my entire fucking life trying to be the person that I think everybody else wants me to be. And that person has to constantly change depending on who I'm talking to. I don't even know who I fucking am because I've spent my entire life just trying to be everybody else except me. I don't even know who I am. And so, it's quite a common thing to get to a point. And how many guys can relate to this too? How many of you guys are like, I've just always thought I had to be a fucking man who just shuts his mouth and does what he's told, and I have to be like a dumb cog in the machine, and my only mission in life is to just shut the fuck up and do what I'm told and just be a good little fucking soldier and put up with shit and not have any emotions and never cry and never get angry because that's toxic masculinity and blah, blah, blah. How many of you can relate to that? So I think a big part of this is just being honest with yourself, and that can take some practice. Being honest about what you want, what you like, what you enjoy, what you don't like. And we're going to talk about what you don't like in boundaries in a second because ChatGPT mentioned that. But yeah, it's that can be a process of figuring out who you are, what you want, what you like, what you enjoy. And so be patient with yourself in that process. Like, don't beat yourself up too much if like you're still in the process of figuring that out. Like I said, you go and you date some people, you do what you want, you figure that kind of stuff out. But yeah, being honest about your likes, dislikes, values, and goals. Yeah. Very, very, very big fan of that. And being okay, part of this is being okay with, you might say, hey, this is what I want. And the person that you're, with or on a date with or talking to says, hey, I don't want that. And then we do our best to not take that personally because it's not about you. You're just really not that important. It's about the other person. They are saying, I don't want what you're looking for. That's got nothing to do with you. It's not like, oh, fuck, should I have said something different? It's like, no, you said everything perfectly. And so by design, if you embrace this honesty and this like screening mindset or mentality of like, I'm going to screen or filter out the people that aren't looking for the same thing as me. And it's not that they're bad. It's not that they're wrong or stupid. I'm filtering them out. They want something different. That's beautiful. And I'm going to filter in the people who are on my same wavelength or on the same vibration as me, on the same frequency as me, the people that are looking for the same thing that I'm looking for. And so part of that screening process and part of honesty means that some people will go and some people will come. Like that is part of it. I've seen from time to time, someone might have a misunderstanding of what I mean when I say honesty and when I talk about these concepts. I've gotten a few emails from people or comments from where someone's basically like, dude, I tried your honesty thing and like, the girl I was honest and she just like left, bro. She said she wasn't looking for what I was looking for and she left, bro. Like I thought you said honesty was like, why'd you tell me to be honest? And I'm like, honesty isn't a cheat code to just make everybody want the same thing as you. Honesty isn't a manipulation tactic. It is literally the opposite. By definition, if you're honest, more people will leave because you're not just trying to please everybody all the time, but more people will come as well. Because now there's something magnetic about you. There's something beautiful about you. You are your own beautiful, true, vibrant self. And people can see that. There's a big reason a lot of you are sitting here watching this. It's not because my content is fucking amazing or I'm saying some mind-blowing concept. It's because I'm deeply honest and authentic. And again, not perfect with that. You don't have to be perfect with that. But I try and be as honest as I possibly can with you guys and girls. I try to be as vulnerable as I possibly can. I share as much of my life as I freaking possibly can stuff into this damn camera and squirt out, squirt out my lovely honesty juice all over you on the other side of this camera, on the other side of these cables connecting us all, or satellites or whatever else. And so honesty is very, very, very magnetic. It's beautiful to witness. It really is a sight to behold. And so if you can embrace honesty, or if you can, a better way to phrase that is if you can just practice being a little bit more honest over time, right? It's something you improve over time. It's like a stat that you level up in a video game. It's just something you improve. You get better at it. You level up. The more you can embrace that, the more you'll find, oh, whoa, actually more people are saying no to me, but a hell of a lot more people are saying yes to me. And more importantly, or more excitingly, the people that say yes to me, they really say yes to me. It's no longer just like I'm convincing people to date me or sleep with me or be my friend, and like maybe sometimes I win them over and sometimes I don't. No. Now it's like I'm just fucking me. And people come running over to me and they go, holy shit, can I please meet you? Can I please have some of whatever the hell you're having? Can I please be in your goddamn life? Because there's something magnetic about you. There's something uplifting about honesty and vulnerability, like true vulnerability. And more to the point, it's not even vulnerability. It's like authenticity. I guess that is partly vulnerability. But if the word vulnerability scares you, or you have some negative connotations around that word, fine. Authenticity, honesty, being upfront, being real. I often phrase it like that, especially for my male audience. A lot of you guys like when I say, let's just be real. You're like, fuck yeah, I like that. Being real with women, I like that. That sounds cool. So whatever word you want to use, it's all basically the same concept. But yeah, I really like this one. Good job, ChatGPT. You're doing a good job so far. This next one made me so goddamn excited. I was like, hell yes, ChatGPT, hell yes. So honesty does not mean full disclosure at once. Being honest doesn't mean that you need to spill all of your deepest secrets on the first date. It is okay to take some time to reveal personal aspects about yourself as trust builds between you and your date. Yes, thank you, ChatGPT. I love you. I think there's this misunderstanding, or sometimes a misunderstanding comes up. When I talk about honesty, I've had a few emails or comments where people say like, but what if I don't want to say something? What if I don't want to tell her something or tell him something? It's like, then don't. Like, God, no, don't share something you don't want to share. Remember the previous one, which was, stay true to yourself. A big part of staying true to yourself is understanding what you do and don't want to talk about. And if you don't want to talk about something, then honesty is saying to yourself, I don't want to talk about that, or admitting to yourself, I don't want to talk about that. That's integrity, and that's a big part of honesty. So it's not when I say honesty, I don't mean you have to go out and tell every random Joe blogs on the street like, hey, did you know that when I was fucking 3 years old, I had some sexual shit happen to me. I had some trauma as a 3. Like, you don't have to fucking share everything. I don't go up to every stranger on the street and say, did you know that when I was 19, I was really fucking depressed and suicidal for like 10 years and I went to prison and I went through, like, I don't share that with every single human being. Now, if somebody said to me, have you ever been to prison? And obviously I've shared it in my content, but if somebody ever said to me, hey, who has been to prison? If I felt like I trusted that person and I felt like they had good intentions and I felt relatively like safe around them, I would be like, hell yeah, I went to. It was this beautiful transformative experience. I got to atone for, not my sins, I don't like that phrasing of it, but I got to turn what I felt was my negative karma, transmute that into, okay, for the rest of my life, I'm going to do good on this earth, in this world, and try and do the best. It was a beautiful transformative experience. I talk about the prison experience, right? I talk about all that shit. And if you're not comfortable talking about whatever it might be, you don't have to. A really good saying that has helped me, I got it from this bodybuilder guy. His name is Tony Huge. Shout outs to any of you who actually know who the fuck Tony Huge is. That would be hilarious. But Tony Huge, he had this quote in one of his random videos that it stuck with me for about 3 or so years at this point, maybe even longer than that, which is people aren't entitled to the information in your head. And when I heard that, I was like, holy shit, because he was talking about honesty himself. And he was saying, I pride myself on honesty. But if somebody asks me a question and I don't feel comfortable answering the question to that person, or I don't want to, or I would not like them to have that for whatever reasons, it doesn't really matter. But I don't want them to have the information in my head, then I'm honest about that. And I will either say to them, hey, I don't want to talk about that. Or like, look, I'm not really comfortable sharing that. Or, hey, look, sorry, the conversation's over. That's it. Like, I'm going to go, or I will just leave. Or you can say nothing at all. You don't even have to say, you don't even have to be so honest to say, I don't want to talk about this. You can just change the subject. Now, I personally find it best when I still say something. Like, I'm not the person that would just change the subject. I like to address things. I like to say, look, hey, I don't want to talk about that. I have my own personal reasons, or I'll say that's private. Like, I prefer not to share that. I hope you understand. If you don't understand, hey, that's beautiful, but I'm not going to share that. But yeah, I really want to underline this because I'm so glad ChatGPT put this in here. Honesty doesn't mean that you just have to tell everyone everything. And this is in a dating context. ChatGPT is pointing out you don't have to share all this shit on the first date. Like, trust can take a little while to build. On first dates, again, don't just tell everyone everything. I'm quite upfront. Like, obviously, they know that I'm in an open relationship with my girlfriend, obviously, because they're meeting both of us together. And that's already been explained. That's already upfront. We have already told them that we're into BDSM and we want to have a threesome with them and try some BDSM and explore and all of that. We make it very clear that we're dating multiple women at once. I usually talk about my website and my content. I often, even at the start, like before we've even been on a first date, I've already told them like, hey, if you ever want to come on my podcast and talk about sex and relationships and stuff like that, we'd love to have you. I make it very clear if you ever want to do like nude photography with us or nude videos. If you have an OnlyFans, we'd love to shoot for your OnlyFans. Like I make all that. I at this point am pretty upfront with my honesty, but it took me a long time to get to this point. And there are still so many things that I don't talk about on the first date. I'm not going to talk about like I went to prison unless it comes up and it's relevant, right? Or I'm probably not going to talk this. I'm struggling to think of something else I wouldn't necessarily. That might be the only thing that I wouldn't talk about on a first date. And even then, if it came up, I would talk about it. I'm probably just not going to steer the conversation in that direction. And I think that's sort of what ChatGPT is getting at here. You don't have to just like dump all of your secrets on the first date. You can if you're comfortable. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. And that was kind of what ChatGPT is saying here. It's okay to take time to reveal personal aspects as trust builds. Trust is something that is built. Why do I share with you, the audience, things like I went to prison and all of that? Because I trust you. Because you have all shown yourself, not all of you, there's some people, but fine, they're not really part of the community. If they're a bit negative, I block them anyway, so I wouldn't even see their comments. But you, the audience, have you shown yourselves time and time again that I can trust you. I have a lot of love for you guys and girls, like a lot, because you've been there. Not all of you, obviously, but fuck it. I'll just say the community. It's weird. Okay, it's weird. Slightly breaking the meta here. It's weird when I'm talking to you guys, the audience, because you're simultaneously a whole group of people, like a group, a collection, but you're simultaneously like at this point, 10,000 people. I know I don't have 10,000 subscribers, but there are about 10,000 unique people that watch the content every month. So it's like simultaneously 10,000 people, but also a group. It's really weird addressing both of those things simultaneously because you never know how to explain things, or like, am I talking to you, the one person? Because you right now listening, I'm talking to you now. You are one person listening. It's me talking to just you. But from my point of view, you have to understand, like, I know from your point of view, you're just listening as one person. You're like, I am a single entity on this earth. I'm a single collection of molecules. I alone am listening to Andy. But Andy, me, obviously, is talking to multiple people, a lot of people. And so it's this weird thing where I have to pretend that I'm talking to one of you because one of you right now is listening, just a whole lot of one of yous, but one of you is listening. But I know that there's multiple of you listening, and you might not be aware of that yourself. When I watch people's YouTube videos, like when I'm just a consumer or I'm a viewer, I'm not thinking, oh, I wonder what the fucking 10,000 other people watching this are thinking. Like, I'm not thinking that at all. I'm just thinking, what do I, as the one person watching this, think? But the content creator is thinking like, okay, 1 million people are going to watch this, or 100,000. So anyway, whatever. Breaking the meta there. YouTube is fucking strange. Talking to a whole group of people at once is really strange. It's so unbelievably strange. I feel like it would be somewhat easier if I was like doing a TED talk or something, because I could see I'm literally talking to like several thousand people. But because it's YouTube, I don't see several thousand people. I'm just seeing the camera right in front of me, which for all intents and purposes feels like one person. So whatever. A little off track there, but I trust you guys and you girls because you've earned that. Time and time again, I've opened up and been honest and authentic. And at the very start, it was utterly terrifying. The first article I ever wrote was called Give Yourself Permission to Suck, because I was so fucking scared to do this stuff that I had to give myself permission to suck at it, because I was so utterly terrified of like, I'm not going to be good at this. It's going to be awful. I'm going to suck. And still kind of sucks a little bit, but the mission is to suck less and less over time. In other words, to be a little bit better every single time I do something or I sit down for a piece of content. So you guys and girls have earned that trust. And look how long it took me to open up about going to prison. I'd been doing content for like 4 years before I finally told that story. And you can see how terrified I was in that video. You can go and watch it on my channel. Just search for prison on my channel. It's a 2-part series, and you'll see, like, at the start, I'm literally shitting myself. And I say that. I say, guys, I'm really fucking nervous to do this, but fuck it. I don't know how to start this. So here we go. And then I just told the story for like 2 or 3 hours, and Imogen was sitting right there. And, you know, it's one of my favorite videos, actually, because it was really fun. I guess rewarding that trust that you guys have like earned with me. And I was really grateful that I'm really grateful that you guys have like, we've built that trust together. But on this point, like, that's kind of the point. Like, trust is something that you build. And so if you're on a first date with someone, you might not feel comfortable talking about what happened to you as a child, or, you know, some fucking trauma that you went through, or your BDSM bucket list of things you want to try, or like, you know, some kinks that you have. You might not feel comfortable talking about that shit. You might only want to talk about the surface level stuff of like, what do you do for work? Well, I work in an office. Oh, that sounds nice. Is it? Yeah, it's pretty good. What do you do? Well, I work in a restaurant. Oh, that's cool. Is that good? Yeah, I like it. Like, that might be all that your guys are comfortable with. That's beautiful. That's great. Trust can take a little bit of time to build up. I personally am at a beautiful place in my life where I've just practiced honesty so many times and seen that most of the time, not all of the time, but most of the time, it's rewarded. Like, people love deep honesty and authenticity. 99.9% of humans on the planet are crying out for more honesty and crying out for people to be honest with them. And so I have embraced honesty. But if you're at the start, like I was like 5 years ago, it's like that can take a little bit of trust, a little bit of practice. You're fucking terrified to open up about things. You don't know what will happen. You're literally thinking the whole world will fall apart if I'm honest about this. That person will reject me. They'll hate me. They'll tell the whole world that I'm a stupid piece of shit or something. And none of that stuff ever really happens. Maybe once in 200 times that you're honest, will someone react maybe not the way that you expect or that you hoped they would. But 99.9% of the time, that honesty is met with people mirroring that honesty back at you, and they will open up and you'll go, wow, holy crap, this is a really honest date or conversation or relationship. And they'll go, yeah, I know. Oh my God, but you started it. Thank you for the honesty. So honesty is an ideal that you work towards, but you don't have to be honest. And I'll even say this. Some of you watching might go, I don't want to be honest. Then don't. You know, it's your life. I'm never going to sit here and encourage you to be dishonest. But if you're at a point where you're like, I can't be honest, I don't want to be, it's like, great, do that then. See how it works for you. Like, I'll be clear, like, look at the feedback that happens. Do you like the way it feels to be dishonest? Like, listen to your own feedback mechanism. Don't listen to me. I'm not here preaching, telling you should or shouldn't do. That's never going to be my strategy. It's never going to be I'm just not that person. I'm too much of a hippie libertarian. I used to be the person that would tell people what to do, but I haven't been that person for a few years. And so it's not up to me, but listen to your own feedback mechanisms. And I know myself, I was dishonest for quite a while, or I was not so much dishonest, but I was careful with the truth. I was very frugal with the truth. I'll phrase it like that. Truthfully frugal. And so I would give out truth sometimes, but a lot of the time I would just not say anything at all and let the person believe maybe something that wasn't true, and I would just let that happen. So it was like, what do they call it? Lying by omission. And so I did that a lot. I was quite manipulative and all of that sort of stuff. And my own feedback mechanisms, my own conscience just wasn't happy. I felt guilt. I felt like other people were always out to screw me. Why? Because I was doing something called psychological projection, which is where the behaviors or the thoughts or the patterns that we have, we just assume everybody else is doing that too. And so if you're somebody that goes through life being very dishonest and trying to manipulate other people, you will literally be on the lookout for other people doing the same to you, because you know all of the tricks of manipulation and dishonesty and all of that. And you're like vigilant trying to see if anyone else is doing it. And you will imagine that other people are doing it, even when they're not. So somebody will come up to you and just be deeply honest. And you'll be like, what is this, a trick? Why are you being honest with me? You're obviously trying to get something, aren't you? And the person's like, no, I was just trying to be honest. I'm sorry. Like, I just like honesty. And you're like, what's your angle? Why are you trying to be honest? What are you trying to get out of me? What's your agenda? And so, like, I found myself that when I was more dishonest and more frugal with the truth and less like giving with the truth, I just didn't feel connected to other human beings. I felt like the world was this dark place that was trying to screw me. I felt like women were always the enemy, and women are always trying to fuck you over, and women are always trying to get a relationship out of you, and they're trying to scam you for a relationship, and they're trying to steal your money. They're all gold diggers, and I just had these fucking combative mindsets with the opposite sex. I mean, with people in general, but with the opposite sex especially. But as I embraced honesty a little more, and it was baby steps at the start because I was really terrified, to be honest, really scared. But I just tried it, and it was met with honesty back. And not always, every now and then, because I wasn't good at screening for honesty. I wasn't good at being honest myself. Every now and then, somebody wouldn't meet my honesty the way that I expected them or hoped that they would. And that's okay. That's beautiful. That's part of the process. So I would just gently say to that person, hey, no, thank you. Like I'm going to go over in this different direction of honesty and finding the people that want to be a little bit more honest. And over time, I found, holy shit, I really like how honesty feels. I like how it feels for me. The other person pretty much always seems to like it. They then seem to get a little bit more brave and be more honest with me, which is beneficial to me because now I don't have to guess what they might be thinking. I don't have to play some 4D chess game of like, why are they lying to me? What are they thinking? They seem to be honest, but are they deceiving me? I don't have to try and play this fucking combat sport, this, like I said, 4D chess game of trying to win or beat them. No, if we're honest, we can both for once put down our weapons, relax a little bit, put our feet up and just be on the same damn team and go, look, I can trust that you're probably not going to fuck me over. You're probably not trying to. Maybe I can relax around you a little bit and I don't have to be on this constant like cortisol coursing through my body, stress coursing through my body. I can relax a little bit and maybe just like let you in a little bit, right? You can let me in a little bit. And maybe now we're on the same team and, that's nice. Isn't that nice? We're not trying to beat each other all the time. In other words, honesty really helped me be on the same team, with the opposite sex, with the people that I was dating and my, friends and people like that as well. And more than that, honesty helped me sort of embrace this mindset that it's not a zero-sum game. I think if you go through life, especially through dating, being dishonest or maybe being frugal with the truth or not fully open, you're holding back a lot, you have this idea, you see so many people, I think this is probably the majority idea, maybe. I don't know, at least 50% of people seem to have this mindset when it comes to dating of like, it's a zero-sum game. If you don't know what that means, it means one person has to win and the other person has to lose, right? And if I'm getting what I want, that means that you're not getting what you want. And then if I let you get what you want, well, that means I'm losing. I'm missing out on something. I'm unhappy. And I used to have that mindset. And how many people in dating have that mindset? How many women listening, maybe you have had little bits of this mindset too, where you think, well, if a guy gets what he wants, then I'm unhappy. Guys are always wanting sex. And if he gets sex, then that means I lose something. And it's like, is that true? Obviously, if you don't want to have sex, don't have sex. But isn't sex a beautiful act between two people? Like, can't it be this beautiful uplifting gift that you both give to each other? Can't you both benefit? Can't there be net gain for both of you? Can't you both feel love, feel obviously sexual pleasure, feel like you get to explore this amazing safe space and you get to add to each other's lives? Can't you both form memories together, beautiful sexual memories? Can't you both gain some intimacy? Can't you give intimacy? Can't you give affection and receive affection back? Can't it be this beautiful playground that you both get to play in together? You get to take each other's hand and say, let's frolic through the fields of sexual intimacy and sexual pleasure. It sounds fucking great to me. That doesn't sound like one person winning and one person losing, but it might feel like one person winning and one person losing if you have this mindset of like it's me versus them. Like it's a zero-sum game where they're trying to take from me and I have to take from them before they take from me. And how many guys listening, maybe you have the same mindset, Like women are always just trying to fucking get your money, or women are always trying to fucking make you a beta male and make you unhappy, and they're trying to like crack the whip, and women are always just trying to get a relationship out of men and, blah, blah, blah. And if I get sex, then she's going to be coming at me and saying, well, I gave you sex, so you better give me a relationship. When you have that mindset, and it's very easy to fall into these mindsets because, again, I think maybe the majority of people have those mindsets, or at least little bits of those mindsets, right? I think those are pretty common mindsets. If the woman wins, then the man lost something. How many times have you heard this saying? Relationships are all about compromise. It's like, I understand that sentiment, Yes, but at the same time, no. I've never in my relationship with my girlfriend Imogen, and we've been together for 5.5 years at this point, I've never thought I have to compromise for you. I don't think I've ever compromised for her. I don't think she's ever compromised for me. What we have done is come together as two adults that love each other very much, that want each other to be deeply happy. Not all the time. You're not always going to be happy. Maybe you will be, I don't know, but we're not always happy, and we don't necessarily expect to be. We try to be, but we don't expect to be. But we come together as two adults that love each other very deeply, and we look for solutions, not compromises. Compromise, by the word itself, kind of has a lot of connotations around it. Of a compromise means one person won and the other person had to sacrifice something or lose something or pay a price or give in. I don't like that mindset. I like the mindset of like, no, we're both going to win. And so any solution that we come to, we make sure both parties get to be a little bit better off for it. I'm never going to accept a solution where she's not better off and I'm not better off, ever. Why would I ever accept that solution? And if a solution looks like it's the only solution and it looks like one of us will have to lose or make a compromise or sacrifice or, maybe not fully be happy with the decision, then I will pour everything I can, and so will she. We will pour everything that we can to going, okay, how do we fucking make sure that you win from this? Right? Like, I don't want this if you're going to lose. Like, why the hell would I want that? You're my partner. Why the fuck would I ever want you to lose? And I have the same mindset with my coaching clients, with my friends. It's just such a beautiful mindset to wrap yourself up in, is like, how do I make sure that I win and this other person wins? How can we walk away from this both feeling good about this damn thing? And a big part of that, like I said, is finding solutions. There is always I am yet to find a situation where I couldn't find a solution where everybody was happy. The key point is, if they wanted to be happy. I think we all know that sometimes you get into a situation where the other person really doesn't seem to want to be happy. And hey, that's okay. But I'm talking about a situation where both people aren't trying to self-sabotage and they do both want to actually feel good. And so under those circumstances where both people are there to try and win together and they both have the same mindset of we're on the same team, they're not trying to screw the other person over. If both parties or all parties want to be there and they want to win, they want to succeed together, they're on the same team. I've never found a problem that didn't have a solution where everyone walks away better. And that is always firmly stuck in my head. It's something that I say in lots of my content. To you guys out there who are out there having a lot of casual sex or wanting to have a lot of casual sex, my mindset is, and I say this all the damn time, leave every woman better than you found her. Like, if you're just going to have casual sex and see each other for 3 months or a month or a year, whatever, just, some finite amount of time, I really like to embrace the mindset of, at the end of that, I would like her to be a better person, even if it's just a tiny, tiny little bit better. Whether that means she's slightly more happy, she's slightly more confident about her body, she's a little more confident in the bedroom, whether it means I've helped her quit her job and go work somewhere where she's happier. Maybe I help her start her business or just give her a little bit of encouragement. Maybe I help her practice honesty so she feels like, with the next partner that she's with, or if she gets married or whatever, she can be a little more honest. Maybe I teach her BDSM and help her explore her body so she feels a little bit more comfortable asking for what she wants sexually. Whatever it might be, there's a million ways that you can gently improve someone's life. And you don't have to sit there and mentor them or coach them or do something crazy. I like to do that stuff because I genuinely enjoy coaching people, but it's even just a kind word here or there, or it's being just a nice person to be around. It's embracing honesty as best you can. So the person goes, wow, you're really honest. This is giving me good practice for my next relationship. I'm going to embrace this honesty thing. There are a million different ways that you can gently lift somebody up. But fully embracing that means that you're never sitting there going, oh, fuck, if I want something, I have to take it from the other person and they have to miss out. It's why, I've done so much content on this. I did a video recently on this channel, a week ago, where I talk about, if you're feeling guilt around casual sex, if you want casual sex, whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. If you want casual sex, but you're feeling this resistance or this feeling of oh, but that's bad, I'm using people, doesn't mean that I'm getting something from it. Flip it around and go, how can I make sure that, and you can't guarantee, but how can I do my best with whatever I have right now? How can I do my best in this current state to try and, enable them to be better off after the casual sex? How can I help them grow as a person? How can I just have a wonderful sexual experience with them, or a few wonderful sexual experiences so they walk away feeling great? And you can't always guarantee that. Like, obviously, you're not fully in control of other people's emotions and the stories that they tell about their own lives and how they're feeling and all of that. You can't like make sure someone had a better time or a good time, but you do your best. You hold up your end of the not bargain, but like your side of things. You put in your effort, and whatever happens after that is beautiful. And so if you embrace that mindset, the guilt sort of falls away. And if you're having difficulty embracing that mindset, as in the mindset that casual sex could be good for both parties as long as they both want to, they're both getting into it because they want to have a good experience. They're not doing it for self-medication or to hurt themselves or something. And you're not lying or manipulating or tricking them into having casual sex. If you come at this from a place of honesty and, hey, I would like my partners to have a good time and maybe be a little bit better off afterwards if I can enable that for them. If you come at it from that mindset, then what is there to be guilty about? Like, what is the shame? Why would you be ashamed of having casual sex? Why would casual sex be bad? You are literally going into it with the mindset of, I want to be a better person after this. I want to do everything I can to help them be a better person. I want to screen for the people that I think will be better off afterwards. Like, if somebody comes to you and they go, I want you to hurt me and I want you to have casual sex with me because I'm a piece of shit and I don't deserve a relationship and all I ever deserve is for people to just use me and then toss me away. Like, yeah, maybe don't have casual sex with that person. But even then, maybe you do have casual sex with that person and you use the experience to slowly lift them up and say, hey, maybe you're worth a little bit more than casual sex. Like, I've had casual sexual relationships like that. I've had, one particular woman that I can think of. When she first came to me, I guess you could say, no, she came to me first and then Imogen and we kind of dated her together, all three of us, but she came to me first and she had only ever had casual sex. Like, that was all she'd ever had, and pretty much only one night stands. And she'd had like 15 of them. And so obviously something internally in her head or in her soul or something is saying, I don't deserve any more than just one night stands. And I slowly untangled that over the course of, I ended up seeing her for about, 6 months, 9 months, something like that. I slowly untangled all of that and got her to a point where she was able to open up about some of the reasons why she felt like she only deserved casual sex. And obviously, I at that point had seen her for like 6 or 9 months. So now she has a new template of like, oh, fuck, okay, well, someone will see me for 6 or 9 months. Like, okay, maybe I am worth more than a one night stand. We slowly unraveled that thread and got her to sort of open up and realize, fuck, man, maybe I do want something more than just casual sex. Maybe I'm going to screen for that. Or not casual sex. She was okay. She was happy having casual sex. She just didn't want one night stands. And so that's what she was sort of bucking up against. But yeah, through going through that process, even that was dating someone that thought she was just coming to me to just, I just only deserve a one night stand. So yeah, I can't even say don't date someone that is coming at it for the wrong reasons. And I'm not saying that you need to go out there and save everybody and help everybody and heal everybody, but that's a positive experience that happened even with me, of someone that came to me, maybe not having the healthiest mindset around casual sex and hooking up and stuff, but I was able to gently like lift her up and say, hey, like, you're a wonderful, interesting human being. You deserve to you deserve whatever the hell you want. Do you want booty calls? If you want that, beautiful. But what do you want? And she was like, no, I think I want to date casually, but for people to see me for a while. Okay, cool. Then let's build that. So yeah, we went massively off tangent there, but I hope this was helpful. I might, just because it's been 50 minutes, whatever, we'll blast through this last one. There's 7 of these in total. I will do 4 today, and then I'll split this into a second video. So the 4th one, and I might blast through this so this video doesn't go too long. So be open about your feelings. If you're enjoying someone's company, let them know. Yes, and I've talked about this a whole lot. I've done a lot of content around like praise your partner. So just search on my YouTube channel for praise. Just search for the word praise. Probably that's the best video to watch. Praise your partner. I just talk about how I'm very open. I will literally say to people, yo, I really like you. I like hanging out with you. Excuse me, or I'll say, I like having fun with you, or the sex is amazing, you're really hot, you're really interesting, or I'll say, thank you for opening up and telling me that story. I do this all the time with my coaching clients as well. Lots of my coaching clients will know, and guys, any of you listening, or girls, there's a couple of women in there now, any of you listening, leave a comment below and feel free to jump on this. But yeah, I'm very freaking open about my feelings in the coaching program. I'll literally say, like, I have a lot of love for you guys and girls. Like, holy crap. Or someone will tell me something and I'll be like, thank you so much. Like, I love that you've shared this. Like, holy crap. Or I'll say, I have so much admiration for you. I'm saying that probably like 5 times a week to people. So I'm very open about my feelings. I'm very complimentary. I will compliment strangers when I go outside. I'll be like, holy crap, your fashion sense is amazing. Holy crap, you guys are such a cute couple. Like, I'm very open. I like to make people feel good because people make me feel good when they say compliments. So I like to give that back. So if you're enjoying someone's company, let them know. Hell yeah. If something they do bothers you, it's important to communicate this as well. Relationships grow when people are able to express how they feel honestly and constructively. Yes, but, and here is the but, I would insert a caveat here where ChatGPT here says, if something they do bothers you, it's important to communicate that as well. Like, yes, but my very first step, whenever a coaching client or someone that I'm, friends with or whatever says, oh, my partner's doing this thing, or a casual sex partner is doing this thing and it bothers me, my first step is, okay, take a pause and like, is this a problem that you can solve yourself? Like, is this a problem with you? Because I think a lot of the time we project on the other person. And here's just a random good example. Imogen, something that bothered her early in our relationship is I will often leave dirty dishes in the sink, right? But in my apartment. So it's not like we're living together and, it's in her way or something. It's my apartment and there are dirty dishes in the sink. And so a lot of people would, in that case, they maybe take what ChatGPT says here and they go, if something bothers you, it's important to communicate it. Like, maybe the first step, and this is what Imogen did because we talked through it, but maybe the first step is you go, wait, am I really bothered about do I really care that they leave dirty dishes in their own house? No. I probably just have some story in my head that a partner should always be clean and he should be cleaner than this and he shouldn't be doing this, but do I actually really give a shit? And when I work through it, like, am I actually bothered? Like, Andy shouldn't leave dirty dishes in his own sink. Is that true? When I actually flesh that out, like when she actually fleshes that out, she's like, no, Andy should do whatever the hell he wants. It's his apartment. And if he's happy leaving dirty dishes in the sink, I want him to be happy. I don't want him to be a dancing little monkey who does everything I think he should do. Because I don't like who I am when I nag somebody else and try and make them perfect and shit. They're just their own human being. They do shit for their own reasons. I wouldn't like him. I wouldn't respect him if he was just my little dancing monkey who did whatever I want. And I have my own examples of this. One thing that Imogen does is when she uses something or when she's cooking something or reheating something in the microwave, when the microwave has like a couple of seconds left to go, like, the clock is counting down 3, 2, she will like open the door because she doesn't like the beep, beep, beep. And so she'll open the door prematurely to save the noise. She'll get her food out and she'll shut the microwave. But then when I next go to use the microwave, it still says 2 seconds left on the clock. And the microwave that I have won't let me type anything. And I'll be hitting the buttons going, why isn't the microwave freaking working? And like no buttons are working. And then I go, oh, there's 2 seconds left on the clock. Okay. So I either have to hit start and let it count down, which takes time and is annoying. Or I have to like hunt for the reset button, which on my microwave is in a weird place. So I have to go, where the hell is reset. And then I can type. And so I might waste like 10 seconds there, maybe 15 seconds sometimes if I'm a little tired or slow or not figuring out why it's not working. So from my point of view, that's wrong. What she's doing is wrong or bad. And so, ChatGPT is here saying, if something they do bothers you, it's important to communicate that as well. And sometimes that might be the answer for you guys. But in this case with the microwave, what I then did is I sat down and I thought about it. And I was like, Imogen shouldn't do that to my microwave. Is that true? And I thought about it a little bit and I was like, do I really even give a shit that like why do I care? It's like 10 seconds and it only happens like once a week. It's not like she's doing it 5 times a day. Yes, if it was 5 times a day, maybe I would communicate that and be like, hey, can we come up with some sort of solution together? Again, solutions together rather than saying, I need you to change your behavior. You need to stop doing this. No, that's not on the same team. That's not a solution. It's, hey, listen, I have these feelings. When this thing happens, when you do this thing, I get these feelings. It's not that what you're doing is wrong or stupid or bad or you shouldn't be doing that. I get these feelings because it's about you and your feelings. Here's the feelings I get. What do you reckon we do to solve this? because I don't really want to feel like this. And I don't want you to just like, oh, you have to change your behavior every time I'm sad. But like, what solution could we come up with? And maybe come up with a solution. But to get back to the example with the microwave thing, I thought about it and I'm like, and I asked myself these questions. I inquired into my own feelings and my own thoughts and the stories in my head. And I was like, I don't really give a shit. I guess I just told myself a story that I give a shit, or I let myself think that I give a shit. But if I actually pause and sit down for a little bit and be like, okay, do I care about the microwave? My answer in that was like, no, I don't give a shit. So I joke about it with her. I was like, all right, sometimes when you do the microwave, like I have thoughts in my head of like, God, this is so annoying, but I don't really care, honey. I really don't care. And often when you come at it with that energy of like, hey, I went and did my own thinking because I realized that this was my problem. It's not a problem, but like if you think you have a problem with someone else, it is almost always a problem with yourself. Now, there are some exceptions to that. If your partner is literally hitting you or something, or if your partner's like cheating on you or something and you guys have agreed to be monogamous or, together, yes, like maybe you don't just sit there and go, oh, okay, well, like, can I just be okay with my partner cheating? Like that might not be something you're okay with, but I'm talking about for the little things. And, having been with my girlfriend for 5.5 years, most things are little things. They really are, but they can blow up into big things if you don't sort of at least ask yourself, do I actually care about this? And again, you might go through that process of, do I actually care about this? And your answer after you think about it and process it, your answer might be like, yeah, look, like genuinely, I really genuinely don't want this to keep happening. Okay, now you go to the person, you go, hey, how can we, as two members of the same team, we're on the same team here, even if you're just in a casual relationship, how can we're on the same team, we're all human beings, we're all, creations of this glorious, grand, fucking lovely little universe or simulation or whatever the hell this is, this cosmic joke, this cosmic playground. How, as two earthlings, can we resolve this together? Because we are on the same team. And if the other person isn't willing to resolve it with you, okay, hey, cool. You can make your own decision and figure out what you want to do. But most of the time, what people default to is, I don't like this behavior. It bothers me. You need to stop it. And so ChatGPT didn't quite say that, but it did say if something they do bothers you, it's important to communicate that. I'm just trying to add a little more context here. I really would, the first step that I would recommend is you go away by yourself and say, do I actually have a problem with this? Because you have no idea how many clients, like probably like 50 people at this point. Like it's happened hundreds of times where someone will be like, my girlfriend did this and it really bothers me. Or this girl I'm seeing did this and it's so disrespectful. I can't believe she would disrespect me like this. And I will gently say, okay, like what are the stories that are coming up? Why does this annoy you so much? Or my boss, God, how many of you have complaints about your boss? My boss is a dick to me, and all this stuff comes up. And when I get someone to actually explain to me the reasons, or to think about the reasons, often for the first time they're thinking about it, the reasons why it bothers them so much, half the time it has fucking nothing to do with that behavior. Like nothing. Like, I'm annoyed because my boss is always a dick to me. Okay, like why does that annoy you? You flesh it out and half an hour later, the person will have an epiphany and they'll be like, oh my God, I'm not annoyed at my boss. I'm annoyed at myself because I don't have any boundaries. And I've never explained to my boss that like, hey, I like to be treated with love and respect. I've never said that. Also, you know what? I'm not even pissed at my boss. My boss has a lot on his plate. He's just doing the best he can. I'm actually pissed at my neighbor who stays up late playing music all the time, and then I'm tired, and by the time I go to work, I'm grumpy. You know what? I actually don't even care about. My boss is a nice person. Why do I think my boss is a dick? What the fuck? I'm annoyed at myself for never having knocked on my neighbor's door and saying, hey, can you turn the music down? And then I'll encourage that person to do that. They'll knock on the door. They'll come back to the coaching group and they'll say the next day, holy shit, I had like a half-hour conversation with my neighbor. We actually ended up having a beer together. My neighbor's really cool. He literally didn't know that the music was loud. He thought it was quiet. He said he'll put in headphones, and now holy shit. Now I don't need to go and tell my boss not to be a dick to me. I don't even, you know what? I'm going to go to my boss. I've had this happen with multiple clients. I'm going to go to my boss or whoever they're talking about, and I'm going to actually tell them that I'm grateful for them. And so what started as like, as ChatGPT is saying here, if you enjoy someone's company, sorry, not that bit. If something they're doing bothers you, it's important to communicate that. It starts out as like, this person is bothering me, but sometimes or quite often, almost always, I would just say, when we actually explore, why am I annoyed at this person? Like, why am I so annoyed at them? Why does this bother me? We almost always find, oh, fuck, it's not actually about the other person. It's about me. Like I was in an emotional state, or I was annoyed, or I had stories in my head that my boss shouldn't be like this, my boss should be perfect. And when you actually explore that shit, you end up not giving a shit. And you often like move way past that to, like I said, a point of love or gratitude or beautiful connectedness. And you go back to your boss or your partner or your sexual partner or whatever, and you go, oh my God, you're not going to believe this, but I've been walking around annoyed at you slightly for the last like 6 months. And man, I'm so sorry I didn't tell you this, but like every time you did this behavior or anytime you did this, I was like annoyed. And I explored it and I thought about it. I love you, like, or I like you, or you're cool, or I appreciate you, or I respect you. I don't care that you did that. Holy crap. In fact, man, I just want to tell you that I really appreciate you. And the other person is like, wow, okay, first of all, that's crazy. I didn't know that like you were annoyed at that. I didn't even realize that annoyed anybody. But wow, thank you for telling me that. That's cool. So yeah, I'm a big fan of obviously opening up about things that if something's like a deal breaker, I really do, yes, obviously talk about it, but come at it from the mindset of what I said, where it's like, how can we solve this together? Are you at least willing to like help me solve this together? And if the person says like, fuck no, that's your problem, go away, then sure. Like you can't force them to solve the problem with you, but at least start with the from the place of like, hey, how can we have a win together? And not just, I need you to change your behavior so that I can win. No, it's, hey, how can we go through this moment right here or this thing that's bothering me? How can I win here? And how can you win here? In other words, how can our relationship or friendship or working relationship or casual relationship, whatever it is, or family relationship, how can that be stronger for going through this? How can we build it? How can we make it even stronger? And so every single like problem that I'm going into where I'm trying to solve a problem, I am literally thinking, how can we strengthen this like relationship or this communication or whatever it is? Like how can we literally be both better off afterwards? And if you can embrace that mindset, holy fuck, the world opens up to you and everybody becomes your friend. Like the whole world is your friend. No longer is it like me versus this person, me versus my boss, me versus this woman that I'm dating, me versus casual sex partners, me versus all of men because all men are trying to fuck me over. It's no longer that. It's like, wow, we're all children of Earth. I guess we're all fucking molecules floating around in this great big universe and we're all on the same damn team and we're all friends. And at the end of the day, I truly believe that we are all friends. We just often shit gets in the way of that. And we go, they're not my friend, they're my enemy. They're trying to fuck me over. So I will wrap up here. Like I said at the start of the video, I have a little coaching deal for all you guys and girls right now. We're doing 18 weeks for the price of 12, but only if you pay in full and only if you sign up in the next 2 weeks. So I'll leave a link in the description below to that. We've already had a couple of people sign up, so I'd be very excited if you joined as well. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, go out there and crush those goals.